Donald Trump has begun filling up the ranks of his executive branch team here, and a lot of the people are very, very bad people.
Yes.
Okay, now the first one we're going to talk about is the chief of staff, Susan Wiles. She doesn't seem to be too much of an ideological warrior.
No, there's not. The impression on her is very much in kind of how effective she is as an employee of Trump. That she's good at executing his will. She can also push back. That she's friendly, but also respected and feared. Like the way I take it, I don't think there's anything as far as her personal policy that would point towards what we might want to expect out of a Trump presidency.
I totally agree. She will definitely be a part of making America great again in Trump's terms, but I don't think that she's bringing in a ton of her past baggage in with her, like other people that Trump is currently hiring.
Yeah.
So he has also just named his deputy chief of staff, and it honestly shocked me that he picked Stephen Miller.
Really?
I thought Stephen Miller was going to stay more towards the back end because he is so controversial and crazy and honestly a bad guy. I didn't think Trump would put him front and center, but here we are.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just say that he's a bad guy and then the comments to be like, you said he was a bad guy, but you didn't tell us how he's a bad guy. Well, Stephen Miller has made it explicitly clear that he does not want any more immigration into this country.
Yeah.
To be frank, he doesn't want it whether it's legal or illegal.
Totally.
He is a very much American nationalist type who believes that America is for Americans and Americans only.
Well, that's exactly what he said at the Trump Madison Square Garden rally in the last week before the election.
Exactly. And he is committed to making Donald Trump follow through on some of the worst excesses of his immigration rhetoric.
Well, in Trump's first term, Miller was a key figure in pushing for his worst, probably in my opinion, his worst policy, which was separating migrant children from their parents at the border and then detaining them. And he's kind of doubled down, but also gone even further in his rhetoric as far as what they will want to do in a second Trump term. He admitted, I don't even know if
it's not even admitted, he's bragging.
Yes, he boasted about how in a second Trump term they'll be using the military to build detention centers to house migrants on open land in Texas near the border. So this is, when we talked about our fears about a Trump presidency, this is one of the worst case scenarios, that like camps actually get built.
And it's not just like, oh, we're saying camps might get built, you sound crazy. No. I'm just repeating what his deputy chief of staff is saying.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm not crazy. I'm just repeating what the guy you voted for, his employees, what they're saying. That's it.
We're not reading between the lines here,
No.
right? It's all there in the lines.
Yes, there's nothing for us to read between. It's so black and white and simple.
Yeah.
They told you who you are, who they were, but a lot of America didn't believe them, I guess.
This quote, I feel like it is perfect for this point. This is what Miller said. Any activists who doubt President Trump's resolve in the slightest are making a drastic error. Trump will unleash the vast arsenal of federal powers to implement the most spectacular migration crackdown. Like,
This is insanity.
It's right there.
And he's also talking about going after workplaces, not just like abusive workplaces that are abusing the migrants, all workplaces. And that is going to be that is going to devastate the economy, okay? But also, it's going to devastate families.
Yeah.
It's going to devastate hundreds and millions of families of the people who this person is going to work to support is then going to get deported.
Yeah.
And this goes off of what Trump is also planning to do, who he's going to hire as the borders are.
Yes.
He's tapping in Thomas Holman. Now, Thomas Holman was a part of the Obama administration, actually, and he oversaw Obama's massive amounts of deportations during Obama's presidency. Under Trump, he was the one who, Stephen Miller was the one who crafted the child separation. Thomas Holman is the one who ran it. Thomas Holman is the one who specifically ran that entire program. And just to remind everybody, during that program, there were 5,500 children who were separated for their families. Okay, 1,400 of them have still never seen their parents again. There are still over 1,000 children who have never seen their parents ever again because Donald Trump decided to do that inhumane, terrible policy.
Yeah. So for anyone who was hoping that immigration rhetoric was just that, these are clear signs that like they are going to be trying as hard as they can, at least on the topic of immigration, to implement everything that they've said they want to do.
Thomas Holman has said he wants to bring back child separation. He wants to bring back the zero tolerance policy. That will be coming again if Thomas Holman and Stephen Miller get their way.
But in a 60 Minutes interview that Homman did a few years ago, he was asked specifically, is there a way to carry out their plans without splitting up families? And one of the things, or like for children who are citizens of undocumented immigrants, he said, of course there is. You can deport the whole family. So we're talking now about, rather than keeping the undocumented immigrants here so that the families can stay together, deporting American citizens who were born on American soil just so we can keep the families together, but get rid of the undocumented parents.
We're talking about just spitting on the 14th Amendment here. Just blatantly spitting on it, ripping it up, throwing it in the fire.
Yeah.
They have no regard for what this country stands for. The entire New World adopted birthright citizenship, which is, if you're born on the soil here, as a making of as a large difference between the old world of where, the country you were born in determined your blood and all that, or the blood in your nationality determines your country. The New World is supposed to be different from all that, and they say no. They say no. They say no.
God, I wish I could give something optimistic.
Yeah, there's nothing optimistic to give.
There's no silver lining.
There's no silver lining. The only thing that I have to say is fight, people. Do not let this happen in your town.
Yeah.
If you have any power at all, do not let this happen in your town.
Even down to just filming what you see, posting it on social media, that to me, as I imagine this being carried out, is going to be the most effective weapon against these kinds of policies.
If you live in a city or town that's able to make their own zoning laws, which you probably do if you live in the United States, okay, you can lobby for new legislation in your town that makes any building of a detention center a major impact project, which means that you get to dictate the specific terms of a permit that you would ever hand out to that detention center. And you can make them ridiculous, like 100 miles away from a school. There won't be anything 100 miles. You can do that. That is within your legal right to do that. And towns should absolutely start doing that right now.